G'day everyone, Viv here. I hope you're all keeping well. Welcome back to another battle report for In Her Majesty's Name. This will be a hybrid report, a little bit of how to play and a battle report sort of smooshed together. Playing a very simple scenario, an objective grab, 2 crates on the table. Look, we'll run through the forces, we'll have a look at the table, we'll talk about the scenario, play it out and see what happens. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoy it. Lots more stuff for In Her Majesty's Name coming soon, including my reviews and opinions of the game, a proper how to play. Let's just get on with this. Thanks for watching. Let's have a look at our Servants of Ra. Now, as I mentioned before, this is a cut down game, so there's about 135 points here if I'm correct. Basically we've got 4 cultists with clubs, 4 cultists with pistols, and Akhenaton, whatever his name is, I'm going to call him Imhotep, because that's much easier. He is the leader for the Servants of Ra. He's carrying his Khopesh of Osiris and his Immortal Oil, I think it is. That gives him armor 13. His Khopesh of Osiris is +2 fighting value and -2 to the pluck. These guys basically have no armor. They're just wearing their cloth robes, so they're armor 7, and their clubs, which are +1 fighting value. And our cultists over here with the pistols, again, only wearing cloth robes, so again armor 7, but they have pistols, so +1 shooting value. That's our Servants of Ra for this battle. They're going to be fighting the Scotland Yard. So again, cut down, reduced points. We basically got the consulting detective, who I'm going to call Sherlock. It's a little bit easier standing right here in the middle. And his 4 constables, this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy, that have their all English electric trudgeons and their pistols, wearing lined coats, so armor 8 on these guys, +1 shooting, +1 fighting, and obviously +1 for the pistols and +1s for the electric trudgeons. -1 pluck for the electric trudgeons, so they're not too bad in combat. Need to get them in there to cause some damage. And then we have 3 special constables, also wearing line jackets, so armor 8, they're carrying their rifles and the all-electric English trudgeon. So same deal with them, +1 shooting, +2 shooting for the rifles, +1 for the trudgeon, and then their stats, they're +1 and +1 for shooting and fighting. And Sherlock in the middle here, carrying his pistol. He's got his Faraday coat, which isn't going to make much difference in this game because there's no arc weapons. So his Faraday coat gives him 8 armor, plus his mystical powers or his talents, fearless and erudite wit and all that sort of stuff, intuitive and blah blah blah. So anyway, that's Scotland Yard for this battle against our Servants of Ra. So again, in this game I'll be using some tokens to help me keep track of what's going on in the game. As I've mentioned in the last battle report, it's not something that you normally need to play a game. It functions quite well without it. But when I'm playing myself and I've got to think about what 2 teams are doing, I need something to help me remember what's going on. So units that have run, units that have moved more than 3 inches, units that have moved less than 3 inches, somebody whose weapon has been destroyed from a fumble, and somebody who has shot. So I'll be using those, and you'll see me place them all over the table throughout the game. So let's take a look at our board set up overhead. We've got our Scotland Yard down here in the bottom right. Behind this tree over here is the Servants of Ra, set up in the corners on the board edges. This is a 3 foot by 2 foot board, so 3 foot this way, 2 foot this way. A couple of tree clumps in the corners, some rock structures through the middle, and 2 huts. Next to each of the huts are a stack of crates, and the objective of this game is for someone to reach those crates, search that crate on an even number on a D10 roll. They'll find something. Once they find something, they need to bugger off back to their corner edge and exit at the end of the turn. If they can get off the table or reach and be in the corner of their deployment zone at the end of the turn, then we rack up victory points and see who's won. So that's what the table looks like from the top down. Turn 1 movement. Scotland Yard have the initiative. So let's start. Here we go. I didn't really have a game plan for the movement here in turn 1. Everyone was so far away, I just was sort of, to some extent, randomly moving everybody. As you saw, Scotland Yard had the initiative. We didn't see the dice roll. I must have forgotten to capture or can't find the footage. Nonetheless, we shall continue on. So we're just moving everybody in here. Lots and lots of runs, as we'll hear about in the overview in just a minute. basically just positioning people, moving them into play. It's a little hard to see the figures from this angle on the overhead cam, but we'll see it when we get the freehand camera happening in a minute. You'll be able to see where the various constables and whatnot are, where the cultists have moved to, etc. So the first turn basically just running everybody into some sort of configuration.
That's the end of the movement phase. Let's just recap really quickly. I started to run out of run tokens, but everybody for Servants of Ra ran, with the exception of this cultist up here with the club. I don't know why I didn't run him. We really want to get those guys into combat as quickly as we can. Scotland Yard was a little bit more conservative. There were a few runs around the place. Sherlock managed to move from the corner of the board inwards. He can move up to 8 inches. Normally it's 6 inches. He has +1 speed, so that gives him 7 inches. And he's also a martial artist, which increases his speed by +1 again, so he can move 8 inches. And just some conservative moves around the board. So that's our movement for turn 1. Scotland Yard again retains the initiative for the shooting phase, so let's check out what happens there. So here we are for the shooting phase for Scotland Yard. Again, as we saw during the movement phase, most everybody ran over here. Those that didn't probably don't have line of sight to anything. However, there is one guy here who I was hoping might be able to see something in between these rocks here. And if we look all the way through, we can see that guy at the back there. So he's going to try and have a shot on that guy. It's 18-inch range with his carbine. I don't think there's going to be any luck, but let's check it out. So as we saw, we're going to try and get this special constable here having a shot on the guy at the back of the hill here. He's only got 18-inch range, so I don't think he's going to be able to get in there at all. Falls way short, so no shooting for Scotland Yard. Well, a failed attempt. Let's go have a look at Servants of Ra now. In fact, we don't need to because there's going to be no shooting over here. The cultists only have pistols. They're a 9-inch range. There's nobody going to be in 9-inch range, so I reckon that's turn 1 done. Just a bunch of movement in towards the centre of the board. One shot that fell drastically short. Servants of Ra can't do anything. There's no hand-to-hand, so that's the end of turn 1. So here we go again, turn 2 initiative. Just a quick reminder that the orange dice is for the cultists and the darker colour is for Scotland Yard. Scotland Yard had it in the first turn. Servants of Ra take it in the second. 6 versus a 5. Sherlock has +2 and Imhotep has +2, so it's straight up dice rolls for here on in the game. So it's basically dice. Servants of Ra take initiative for the second turn.
So here we go, here's the movement for second turn. There is a little bit of a game plan here. Basically, as we know, the objective is to get to those chests. So I'm trying to move as many people as close as possible towards those chests. Obviously, the more people I have in contact with them, the more chances we have to be able to find some treasure and then bugger off with it. At the same time, though, I'm trying to protect some flanks. Just put down some line of sights with some pistol weapons or some ranged weapons so I can sort of cover those angles. And as you'll see shortly, it does work and doesn't work at the same time. It's kind of tough to play yourself. You're always trying to outthink, and then as the game progresses, you become emotionally attached to one side, and it's a bit challenging. But here we go. Most of the people just running around, getting into combat or getting closer towards the enemy, so we can get some close quarter action going on. That's about movement for the second phase.
At this point here, I think we might stop our time lapse of the movement phase for the second half. Something has gone wrong here. I might have had 2 turns with the Servants of Ra because I still have 2 guys up here that haven't moved. But anyway, let's move on with it. I'm stopping it here during the movement phase because Imhotep down here in the rocks has a special power that he's going to use called Mesmerism. He can use it during the movement phase. It's a mystical power. Let's have a look at that now. So here's Imhotep down there in the rock, and you can see he has moved 6 inches. He's got one little chap or 2 chaps back here that he has line of sight to. His mesmerism power is a 12-inch range, so we're going to try and mesmerize this guy here. Mesmerism basically allows Imhotep essentially to take control of somebody, and then that person will then attack the closest friend. Either move into combat and attack him, or if he can't reach him in combat, he'll try and shoot him. So that's what we're going to try and do. Let's have a look at the dice rolls. So here's our dice rolls. Again, orange being for our Servants of Ra, and the darker colours for servants for the Scotland Yard. To use a mystical power, basically the caster needs to pass a pluck test to be able to cast it. So the orange dice is going to be the pluck test. For Imhotep, he has a 2+ pluck. So anything 2+, and he'll successfully cast Mesmerism. The target, depending on the mystical power, might be able to make a pluck roll to resist it. So the darker coloured dice will be for our little constable there to see if he can resist it. So 2+ for Imhotep to cast it, 5+ for our constable to resist it. Let's see what happens. It's cast, and the constable resists it on a natural 10. It's not a problem. Mesmerism over. So we resume our regular broadcast, end of turn 2. Like I said before, I've done something wrong, so everyone on Servants of Ra has moved, but I still have 2 guys for Scotland Yard that are going to move, so I'm going to move them both, and that'll be the end of the movement phase for turn 2. So that's the end of our movement phase. Let's just recap a little bit. Whole bunch of movement coming in for Servants of Ra. Lots of people over here running, more cultists coming into this objective. Scotland Yard also had a couple of constables running in to try and make contact with this chest to search it. This chap over here also ran in, more running. We've left a couple of guys up here, the special constables. They've moved less than 3 inches because this guy popped around the corner. They're going to try and hopefully knock off some shots on him during the shooting phase. Imhotep came in, hiding in between the rocks here. Just a caveat here, there's no terrain, type 2 or type 3 difficult terrain. We're not playing with any of those modifiers at the moment, just straight up basic rules. Imhotep tried to memorise this constable, failed. He was able to cast it, but the constable resisted it on a natural 10. That's the movement phase for turn 2. Let's have a look at what happens during shooting. Servants of Ra have the initiative. Let's get on with it. So this is the state of play for the Servants of Ra. Turn 2 shooting. Not a lot of options here. Everybody run. Well, most people run. Lots of runs over here by the other hut. We have, however, left a couple of shots open. We've got this guy in between the rocks who's moved less than 3 inches, and this guy around the other side of the rocks who's moved more than 3 inches. So let's crack off a shot with him first on this constable over here, and you can see that he can see that guy up there behind the barrel or the crates. So let's try and have a shot with him. Let's go check out the dice rolls. So before we have a look at the dice roll, let's just quickly look through some of the mechanics here. Mild, how to play, a little bit of slash battle report. Our Servant of Ra, the cultist over here with his pistol, wants to have a shot at this constable behind this stack of crates over here. The game is all about modifiers. The constable at the back here has armor 8. So if everything was equal, that's what I'd need to roll on a d10 in order to hit this guy. But there's a whole bunch of modifiers that come into play. So I take my d10 roll, I add to it the shooting value for my cultist, which is 0. I add the weapons shooting value, if it has a shooting value. In this case, pistols have +1, so I'm getting +1 to my dice roll. Now there's a whole bunch of negative modifiers. He moved more than 3 inches, so it's -4. So my +1 now goes down to -3. My target ran, so I have another -3. He is behind some cover, but we'll ignore those rules for the moment. Otherwise, I'd probably call that type 2 cover. There'd be another -2. So dice roll -8. At this stage, let's ignore cover and movement and all that sort of stuff. It's a dice roll -6. Now, this guy has armor 8. It's going to be an impossible shot. I'd need to roll a 14 -6 to reach my target number of 8. This is an impossible shot, yet I still have a chance because on a dice roll of a 10, it is an automatic success. A 1 is an automatic failure, so there is still a 1 in 10 chance that I might actually hit this guy. If I do hit this guy, he then needs to pass a pluck test, modified by the weapon that hit him, if the weapon has any pluck modifiers. In this case, the pistol does not. His pluck is 5+, so the cultist is going to need 10 or more, and if he is hit, the constable will need a 5+ to at least survive. Anything less than that, he'll be killed. Let's have a look at the dice roll. So as I mentioned, the cultist with the pistol is going to need a natural 10. The constable is going to need a 5+ if he gets hit. I'm going to roll both dice at the same time just to save time. It's a 1. Okay, so something's gone wrong here. Potentially the cultist's weapon has run out of ammo or something. Let's roll it again. If it's another 1, if it was another 1, the pistol would be useless for the rest of the game. It's not. He's missed his shot. The constable is safe. Now it's the Scotland Yard's turn to have a shot. So there we go. Our constable survived his attack from the cultist over there by the rocks. The cultist missing his shot. It's Scotland Yard's turn to have a shot. So as we can see, again, not a lot of options. Run. Bit of movement here, but as we know, movement is a -4 penalty to your shooting. Run. I have left a couple of shots open, and we can see those over here. These two special constables with their carbines, 18-inch ranges, potentially want to have a shot at that guy over there. So let's duck down. I think we'll start with this guy on top of the hill back here. He can definitely see that guy over there. Let's measure up range and then roll our dice. So here we go, our special constable on the top of the hill here, having a shot at our cultist down the corner, down the bottom here. First thing we need to do is check range, 18 inches. He's within range. Again, I'll run through the example here, maybe 1, 2 more times, and then the rest of the game I'll just be calling out target numbers that we need to achieve to make the dice rolls quick and fast for you guys watching at home. So our special constable's got line of sight. He's going to try and smash this guy. Now, he hasn't moved more than 3 inches, so there's no modifiers for him. His target has run, so it's a -3 to his dice roll. He has a +1 shooting value. He is also carrying a carbine, which has +2 shooting value, so he's getting +3. The target's cancelling those 3 out because he ran, so it's a straight up dice roll for our constable up here on the hill with his carbine to shoot this cultist down here with the club. Let's go check out the dice roll. Here's our dice roll for our constable shooting this cultist. The constable needs to beat his armour, which is 7, so he's looking for a 7 or more. The cultist will be able to save himself on a 6 or more, so let's roll it up and see what happens. The constable has missed him, so there we go, no effect, unfortunately, for Scotland Yard. Couldn't take down that guy. So our cultist with the pistol over here, surviving attack from the constable on the hill over there, that was very lucky. So, Servants of Ra, turn for shooting. There's only one other guy that can shoot here. They've only got 3 guys with pistols. This guy's had a shot at the guy behind the crate. Everybody else has ran except for this guy. He's got a shot if we peek down through here on Sherlock at the back there. So let's measure up range and then we'll see what our dice turn up for our cultist here. Maybe he's had some embalming fluid this morning and is feeling pretty good. He's feeling accurate and he's going to hopefully at least knock Sherlock down. The chances of killing him are remote, but let's see the dice rolls. Okay, so again, we'll run through another quick example of modifiers, and then I think we'll call it about there. We'll wait for some how to plays to really understand how the modifiers work. But if you haven't got it so far, the game is super simple. Let's rock it out here. Our cultist with a pistol shooting at Sherlock over here, 9-inch range. Is he going to be in range? Or he's just on range? So let's work out our modifiers, then we'll go see our dice roll. He has no shooting value. The pistol has a shooting value of +1, so he's getting +1. He has moved more than 3 inches, so it's -4. So at the moment we're at -3. Sherlock over here has moved, so it's another -2, it's -5. Sherlock has a Faraday coat, armour 8. Again, it's another impossible shot. I need a 10 or more to hit Sherlock. If I'm lucky enough to hit Sherlock on a natural 10, Sherlock has a 2+ pluck. So he's hard to take down, just as Imhotep is. They both have 2+ pluck. Oh, I apologise. No, Sherlock has a 3+ pluck. So let's go see our dice roll. Hopefully we'll be lucky enough to maybe cause some damage. Anyway, let's go see the rolls. Here we go. Is our cultist going to get lucky? He needs a natural 10. If Sherlock is hit, he needs a 3 or more to survive. Let's see what we get. Oh, it's a 1, so maybe something has happened to the cultist's pistol. It could potentially be a fumble. Let's roll it again. No, he's fine. As I said before, if he rolled a 1, his pistol would be useless for the rest of the game. He's okay. It is Scotland Yard's turn to fight back. Let's have a look at the state of play for those guys. Again, lots of runs around the place. Potentially a shot from this guy over here. He's moved less than 3 inches. Maybe we'll see what he's got. However, there is a clear, easy shot over here. Our constable on the hill shot before. Our constable at the bottom of the hill also has a clear line of sight to this guy. So, potentially, is he going to be in range? Probably, definitely. Let's see if he can get a shot on that cultist and see what happens. So our special constable down here with his carbine having a shot at the cultist who ran over here. 18 inches range, yeah, definitely. Plus and minus a whole bunch of modifiers. I've done that already. The constable's going to need a straight up dice roll of a 7 or more. Hopefully the cultist will save himself if he gets hit on a 6+. Let's check out the dice rolls. Here we go, Scotland Yard need a 7. If the cultist is hit, he needs a 6+ to not be killed. Let's roll it up. It's a hit. It's less than his pluck. The cultist is dead. So there we have it, first blood for Scotland Yard. Our special constable with his carbine has killed our little cultist with a club over here. So first blood to the Scotland Yard. And it's now over to Servants of Ra to see if they've got any more shooting and can fight back. So we'll do our quick summary here for Servants of Ra of their state of play. They've lost that guy over by the hut. I don't think there's any more shooting over here. Runs. A move for Imhotep in the middle there, who tried his mesmerism on those guys before. This guy's shot. This guy over here shot. This guy's a club, so he can't do anything. The guy with the pistol down here, he may potentially have some targets in line of sight, or maybe just, but his runs. So Servants of Ra can do nothing else for the shooting of turn 2. So Scotland Yard finishing up their shooting for turn 2. Successful shot from our special constable. Missed shot at the backup here. Not a lot of action from the pistols up in the front line, because most of them have ran, but we do have one special constable at the back here that has moved less than 3 inches, so he may potentially have line of sight to something. And really the only thing that he can see is this guy at the back over here through all of this stuff in the middle, crates and rocks and his friends, and I really wouldn't call that an achievable shot. So that'll be the end of the shooting for turn 2. So here we are, end of turn 2 shooting. There's no combats happening anywhere, so there's no melee phase, no hand-to-hand, no fighting phase in turn 2. That's the end of it. Let's clear the board off, roll up initiative for turn 3, and continue the game and see what happens. And the Servants of Ra on a 10 here have the initiative for the third turn. Before we get into the ins and out of our third turn moving, as I mentioned, Servants of Ra have the initiative. Let's talk about these crates and the objective. This is just a mild demo scenario that I've dreamt up. I change the rules each time I play it. So basically these chests have something important inside it. If you're in base-to-base contact at the start of your movement phase, you can roll a d10. On a even number you'll find something, and if you find something you can then take it back to the in this case, the corner of your starting edge. Now we're gonna play the rule where you sacrifice half of your movement to search the chest, and then you can move away if you find something. If you find something you can't run away, you have to do a normal move. So I rummage through here. Normal move is 6 inches. I'd spend 3 inches of that to rummage through here. If I find something, then I can break away 3 inches and move away. So it's Servants of Ra. Let's go see what happens over here. We'll roll up his dice rolls and we'll put this back into time lapse and keep our moving happening. So turn 3, Servants of Ra have the initiative. Is the movement phase. Our little cultist down here with the club is going to try and search this chest to see if he finds something. Does he? He does. It's an even number. He finds some treasure and he's going to try and get out of there quick smart. On 3 inches he can move out. He'll bring the treasure with him. Let's just face him this way so he's running home, and that counts as his move. Let's do Scotland Yard now. They've also got someone next to the chest, so let's have a look. We'll activate this guy. Does he find something in the chest? He also finds something in the chest. So let's get around there and move him, and that will count as his movement, and we'll come back to the Servants of Ra in just a second. So here we go. We'll move this guy out 3 inches. We'll bring him back to sort of just around here somewhere. Turn him around here. Get back to your corner, buddy. Take that treasure home. It's a race now. It's a race. All right, back to Servants of Ra. Look, let's try and be sneaky here. We're going to activate Imhotep here. I'm going to move him forward just a little bit. It doesn't really matter. I can move him the full 6 inches. I'll bring him in here. Let's stick a movement token next to him. He's going to use his mesmerism on our constable here to hopefully try and get him to attack this guy who's run away with the treasure. He'd be the closest person. So let's go see our dice roll again. Imhotep needs a 2+ to cast it. Our constable needs a 5+ to resist it. What do our dice rolls say? And the dice rolls say Imhotep casts it, but our constable resists it. Good job, constable. Right, so I've thought about it for a little bit, Our constable here is going to move into base contact with the chest. Hopefully he can search it next turn. Servants of Ra now activate. We'll try and get this guy here to identify some treasure in the chest. Does he find anything? He also finds some treasure. So let's give him a token. He'll bugger off 3 inches straight through these rock faces. This is where I guess the modifiers would for movement would come in important. So let's give him his treasure. Let's give him his move token. Servants of Ra buggering off with 2 pieces of treasure. Alright, Scotland Yard, what can we do about it? Now, I really want to take care of Imhotep, but he's hard to bring down. I need weapons that are going to increase his pluck, so I've got a chance to kill him. So I could have this guy here move into contact to search the chest, but I'm not going to. We're simply going to move this constable here, just over here, base contact with this guy, so we can start to form a cordon to hopefully trap him with our electric trudgeons. Servants of Ra. Let's get this cultist over here to move just a couple of inches, just to about here. Hopefully we can get a shot on these guys if they don't move out of the way. Now he knows this is not a very good idea, so he's going to move into base contact with him. Silly cultist. What were you thinking? You're going to get murdered by that trudgeon. This guy's going to come out of the rocks 6 inches to come and support his friend. Yeah, we'll get him out of there. Move him into contact. Let's just shuffle some people around for the sake of fun and excitement. I'm not too concerned about shuffling people out of the way to make sure we get combats going on. Right, Scotland Yard, how do we feel about this situation now? Not fantastically good. You know what we need to do? So we need to get Sherlock trudging off down here. Let's get him down here 6 inches. Oh, it's not quite far enough, but at least he's in there for the fray next turn. Rightio. Do you want to be silly? Yes, we do want to be silly. Let's get another combat going. Silly cultist, go and fight Sherlock. Okay. Too much embalming fluid for you. Right, what else have we got? What can we see here? Oh, look at this. We've got a lucky shot just down here. We'll move this guy over here. Less than 3 inches. We'll have a look at what he's got in the shooting phase, if his target is still there. Look, let's mob this dude over here. Yeah, easy. This is an easy move in here. That's less than 3 inches. So we'll get in here. Our poor constable being mobbed by a bunch of cultists. That's exactly how you want them to work. Alright. Let's keep this moving along relatively quickly. Let's get this guy down here. He doesn't have much chance. Oh, no, he does. Let's move him down the hill here. Less than 3 inches. We'll have a look at what he's got in a minute. This guy needs to do something about the guy with the treasure over here. So let's just move him 3 inches underneath the trees over here. And we'll have a look at what shot he's got in a minute. There we go. Quite quick and done, everybody. All finished. That's movement turn 3. Let's check out the shooting phase. Again, Servants of Ra have the initiative, so what can they do about this situation at the moment? So here we go. Here's the state of play for the third turn shooting for Servants of Ra. Not too many options on the table. We've got one cultist with a pistol here, another one with a pistol here in combat. Now you can shoot in combat, so we're going to have a crack. We're going to try this cultist here against the constable who he is in combat with, and hopefully we can bring him down and the rest of the guys can mob him while he's down, where they get bonuses for that. So let's take a look at the dice rolls and see what happens. So here we go, everything aside, modifiers and all that sort of stuff. The cultist is going to need 9 to hit him, and the constable will need a 5+ to save himself. So here we go, let's check out and see what happens. It's a miss. Our constable is safe for the moment. So Scotland Yard's activation. We're going to activate this constable, special constable down here by the tree with a carbine. He's going to try and have a shot at this cultist who's running away with the treasure. And you'll notice I've changed it from a black token to this fancy little coin, which are available from campaign coins. Let's get down behind here and see what he can see. Can he see him? We can't see past that tree from the camera, but he's certainly got line of sight to that cultist. So let's measure up range and have a look at the dice rolls. So this is our constable over here shooting at our cultist over here. Let's check out the range. As we just mentioned, it's easy, 18-inch range, not a problem. Let's check out our dice rolls and see what happened. Here's our dice roll. Our special constable is going to require a 6, and if the cultist gets hit, he's going to need a 6+ to save himself. So let's have a look what happens. It's a miss. Unfortunately, that would have been great. Right, so our cultist survived the shot from our special constable. He is armed with a pistol which has a 9-inch range. He's not too happy about that. There you can see our line of sight right there. He's going to try and have a shot back. Let's just quickly measure up range. 9 inches. Yep, too easy. Let's check out the dice rolls. Because our cultist has moved and so has the constable, it's going to be almost an impossible shot for the cultist, so he's going to require a 10 to hit the special constable, and if the special constable does get hit, he's going to need a 5 or more to save himself. So, oh, close but no cigar. The cultist has missed him. So we continue on with a Scotland Yard then. We've got another special constable at the back here, and as we can see, he's got a really good line of sight to that cultist down the back who's involved in that combat. So here's an example of shooting into a group of figures who are involved in a fight. It is possible to do. It's very, very difficult. That's easy going to be 18-inch range, but we'll measure it up and roll the dice and see what happens. Rightio, so 18-inch range, it's definitely easy peasy. Certainly within range, but there's a chance that he could hit somebody else in this combat, so there's a whole bunch of modifiers. Let's quickly run through it. He has moved less than 3 inches, so there's no modifiers. Our target has moved, so it's a -2 modifier for that. It's a -4 modifier for shooting into a group of combat, so that's -6. He has +3 to this, so it's -3. Our cultist has armor 7, so I add those 3 to it, and I end up with a target number of 10. So I need a natural 10 to hit this cultist. If I don't hit him, then I'll make a roll to see if I hit somebody else in the group. But first, let's make our first roll and see what happens. Rightio, so we're looking for a 10 on this dice. If we do roll up a 10, the cultist can save himself on a 6+. So let's see what happens. Oh, so close. No, alright, so he's going to hit somebody else in the group. Let's look at how we figure that out. So here's our combat in the middle. I know it looks a bit messy with all these tokens, but like I've said before, you don't need them when you're playing against somebody else. Here's our combat. Basically now we need to randomise to see if we potentially hit somebody else. Because there's 4 figures involved in the combat, I'm going to discard 1s and discard 10s, and we'll go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we'll just roll this on the table over here. It's a 9. There we go. So we've hit our own constable, potentially. So now I make another attack roll from our constable who's off screen at the moment, into that combat, potentially aiming for the, well, not potentially, we are aiming at the constable. This time we make another attack roll, another shooting roll, but we don't suffer the -4 penalty for shooting into combat. So let's take ourselves back up to the full screen and check out our dice roll. Is our constable going to get shot by his own man? So here we are, our special constable shooting into the combat. He's missed his initial target, which was our cultist. We've rolled now for our constable. All modifiers and whatnot are taken into account. He will need to reach a 7. And if the constable is hit, he can save himself on a 5+. So let's have a look at our dice rolls. So we'll use the orange dice for our... Actually, we'll use the darker dice, this reddish-brown one for our shooter. He needs a 7. The constable can save himself on a 5+. Let's see what happens. He's been hit, but he has saved himself. So in this instance, our constable has been shot, he's been hit, he's made his pluck save, so he doesn't get killed, but he gets knocked down. And I guess that's exactly what the Servants of Ra were hoping for, because now in the combat phase, that's going to happen shortly, they'll get bonuses for attacking that guy. So unfortunately, Scotland Yard shot one of their own men. Not a good day for them. So zooming back into our combat, it's now Servants of Ra turn to fire or shoot with someone. They've only got one person left who's armed with a gun, and that's the cultist who was in combat with the constable who's just gone down. So we're going to have a shot with the cultist against the sergeant who's on the ground. Different examples, so we'll run through the modifiers. He's moved, so it's -4. Our target has moved, so it's -6. Our target is currently on the ground, so I get +2. My pistol is +1, so I'm currently at -3. The constable's armour is 8, so I need an 11. It's impossible, so I need at least a natural 10. If I get a natural 10 on the dice roll, the constable can save himself on a 5+. So let's check out the dice roll and see what happens. Oh, it's a potential fumble. So we need to roll again. If it's another 1, it is not. If it was, the cultist's pistol would have been useless. So that's our Servants of Ra pretty much done. No one else to shoot with, so now Scotland Yard gets to come back and shoot with everybody else that they've got left who can potentially shoot. So, Scotland Yard, now pretty much a whole bunch of firing. Let's have a look and see what we've got. We've still got a special constable down the bottom here who is going to have trouble seeing anything. We can see a head over the top of those barrels or those crates over there, but he's not going to have any shot at anybody. You can shoot if you're in combat as long as you have a pistol. If you don't have a pistol, you can't shoot in combat. So let's see what else we've got going on here. I'm hesitant about shooting either of these constables into the combat here because I don't want to knock down Sherlock here. So Sherlock's going to whip out his 6-shooter and have a shot at the cultist that he's about to fight in hand-to-hand at the moment. And we'll zoom back out and have a look and see what the dice rolls pull up for us. Hopefully Sherlock can knock that guy down. If not, kill him. So we've zoomed in on our combat. Let's run through the modifiers for the sake of it. Why not? Sherlock's moved. It's -2. The cultist has moved. That's -4. Brings the total to -6. Sherlock has a shooting value of +2. The pistol is +1, so it's -3. Cultist armour is 7, so I'm going to need a 10 or more. Let's roll it up and see if Sherlock can actually break this. He needs a natural 10. If he does get it, the cultist will save himself on a 6+. No, rolls up a 7 and he's missed the cultist, so no consequences there. We do have potentially other shots with Scotland Yard, but I'm not massively keen to do it. As you can see, these two guys are just outside of combat. We could potentially try and shoot somebody, but we're not going to, so we'll call that the end of shooting for turn 3. Let's move on to hand-to-hand. So here we go, it's the fighting phase in turn 3. Servants of Ra have the initiative. There was only 2 combats happening here, the fight between the cultist and Sherlock, and the group fight over here. There's no longer a threat there from the constable, so I don't need to worry about activating any of those guys just yet. They'll get a turn to fight him in just a minute. This is the only combat that's going to take place. I'd rather try and knock Sherlock down before he knocks me down, so I'll activate this cultist with the club first. Sherlock has a base armour of 8. That's our initial target number. The cultist doesn't have any fighting value, but he has a club, which adds +1 to his dice roll, so that's his only modifier there. Sherlock, on the other hand, has a special talent called Erudite Wit. It's basically the ability to talk smart and talk clever and confuse your opponent and taunt them and all that sort of stuff. So that's -1 to the fighting value and -1 to someone who's trying to shoot at him. So that's cancelled out our bonus for our cultist, so we're still back at 8. Sherlock also has +1 speed, so that increases his armour effectively to 9. He's also a martial artist, which gives him another +1 speed, so it increases his, or the target number I guess we should say, to 10. So our cultist is going to need a 10 to hit Sherlock. On the odd chance that he does hit Sherlock, Sherlock gets to save himself on a 2+. So let's roll up our dice roll and see what we're looking for. Cultist is looking for a 10, which he doesn't get. He rolls a 6, and that's it. The cultist has had his turn. Let's go now to Scotland Yard. Obviously, there's only one person we can activate in the fighting, and that's Sherlock. Sherlock's going to fight him back again. We'll quickly run through the modifiers here. Base armour of 7. Sherlock is a martial artist, so he fights unarmed, but because he's a martial artist, he has some bonuses. So his normal fighting value is 3. He gets +1 for being a martial artist. So currently we're at dice +4, or the armour 7 -4, which gives us a target number of 3. So Sherlock will hit this guy on a 3 or more. The cultist will be able to save himself on a 6 or more. What do the dice say? Sherlock has hit him. The cultist has saved himself, so he is only knocked down. Lucky cultist. That's Scotland Yard done. Last activation now for Servants of Ra. Well, they could have several here, so let's go over and have a look and see what we can do. So here's our fight with our cultists. We've got 3 cultists at the moment ganging up on this constable who's down on the ground. You can mob people, so I could nominate the initial attacker and then everybody else adds +1. In this case, I don't really need to worry about that because my target is down. When you're attacking someone who's on the ground, whether you're shooting or fighting them, you get a +2 bonus, effectively reducing their armor by 2, or +2 to your dice roll, whichever way you prefer to do the math. So I'm going to make 3 separate attacks against our constable, and hopefully with those 3 separate attacks I'll get a better chance to kill him, because nobody has any weapons that can increase his pluck. The higher your pluck is, the more chances there you are of dying. So I'd rather have 3 chances of trying to beat a 5+ pluck than 1 chance of trying to beat his armor of 8 and only 1 chance to beat his pluck. So that's what we're going to do with our Servants of Ra. There are no other combats on the table, so we're going to do 3 quick rolls for the Servants of Ra. Here we go, we'll start with our cultist with the club. We'll do the math just for the sake of it, why not? Target is down. He normally has an armor of 8, so his armor becomes 6. That's my target number. I get +1 for my club, so that becomes a 5. So Servants of Ra will hit him on a 5. The constable will save himself on a 5+. Let's see what happens. He's hit him, but his pluck has saved him. Let's go to the next guy. The next guy here is a cultist with a pistol. Same deal. Yeah, 5 or more. Actually, no, it'd be a 6 or more because the pistol doesn't give him a +1 in combat. He's hit him. The constable has failed his pluck save or his pluck roll and dies. Good work, cultists. That's the end of the combat phase for turn 3. Just to quickly recap, we've got 2 cultists running off with treasure at the end of turn 3. We've got a constable over here running off with some treasure at the end of turn 3. We've got a cultist on the ground. A constable died. There's some interesting combat that's going to happen here. Hopefully we'll see who gets initiative. But it's all looking a little bit sort of Servants of Ra at this point, given that they've got 2 people who can bugger off with the treasure. So let's see what happens in turn 4. We'll roll up initiative and see what happens. And Scotland Yard has it with a 10. So Scotland Yard has the initiative for the 4th turn. Let's see what happens. We've got Sherlock here. He's going to try and go after this guy who's breaking off with the treasure. I'm hoping that the constable over here, the special constable, can shoot this guy before he gets away. So Sherlock's going to chase this guy down. It's a 6-inch move. It's not a problem. So he's in there. Easy done. Servants of Ra get to activate somebody. Well, now this cultist here can either stay there or he can try and fight Sherlock. So, or he can disengage. To disengage, he needs to pass a pluck test. So let's make a pluck test. His pluck is 6 or more. So let's see if he makes it. He does. It's a 10, so he gets to break away. If I break away, I get to move normally, but I can't engage in combat. So he's buggered off. 6 inches up the hill. Not the best hills for placing figures. Bugger it, we'll pop him over here. So here's Hightard with some treasure. Scotland Yard. Alright. It's not fantastically good news. What we might try and do is we'll move this guy out here. It's a 6-inch move, so if he's going to fire, there's going to be a lot of modifiers, unfortunately. Scotland Yard is going to move in and try and attack Sherlock. Now, Imhotep is terrifying, so normally you'd have to make a pluck roll if you wanted to stand and fight him. Sherlock is fearless, so we don't need to worry about that. This constable here is going to move in against this cultist here. This cultist is going to move around and come and attack him. this constable is going to move into combat here with Imhotep. Now he needs to pass a pluck test to see if he can do that. Let's see if he does. His pluck is 5 or more. He does, he passes it. So he's able to get into combat with Imhotep. So we'll move him in here. Servants of Ra are going to try and get this guy up off the ground. To get someone off the ground, you need to pass a pluck test. His pluck is 6 or more. He passes it, so he gets up off the ground and can act as normal. So he's going to get up off the ground and then move into contact with our constable. Now we've got an even combat happening here in the middle. So we'll split those off. Our constable will fight the cultist, and Sherlock and Imhotep will just keep fighting amongst themselves. So that's everybody in here. Let's move our little constable over here, a couple of inches. Just move him out here so we don't end up with huge big modifiers. We're going to try and get this cultist up out of the way. We'll get him 6 inches up here onto the hill. Going to move our constable here, our special constable with a rifle, 6 inches in towards the action. Our cultist here is again going to mob this guy here, so he'll easily be able to get around all these guys. 6 inches, not a problem. I wouldn't worry about it anyway for the sake of thematics. Let's get him in there. And that's all of our movement done. Note, Scotland Yard's got one last activation, and that's this guy. He's going to bugger off 6 inches to about here. So it's a race to the finish line from here. Alright, that's the movement phase for turn 4. So here we are, shooting turn 4. Scotland Yard have the initiative, and the first thing we need to try and do is activate this constable down here to have a shot at that guy on the hill up there. He's got plenty of line of sight, not a problem. We might be able to see through the trees here, we can. So there's the cultist. Let's shoot him in the back. Let's measure up range and see what the dice say. So here's our constable. I'm fairly confident that's going to be 18 inches, easy. So he hasn't moved, no modifiers. He's moved, it's -2. He gets +3, so we're dice +1. We need a 6 or more to kill the cultist or to hit him. The cultist has a 6+ chance of saving himself. So 6 on this dice to hit him, 6 on this dice to save him. Let's see what happens. We've hit him and he's been killed. The cultist has dropped his treasure and died. Nice work, Special Constable. There we go. That's the first turn shooting. Activation now goes over to Servants of Ra. If they've got any shooting, we'll find out in a minute. Right, so here we go. Not too many options. There's a big shit fight happening here in the middle. And Servants of Ra have 2 cultists with pistols engaged in combat, fighting against the constable here. Now, neither of them have moved more than 3 inches, so there's not going to be a huge amount of modifiers. Our constable has moved, as you can see, so it'll be -2 to any dice rolls. So we'll try and shoot the constable with one of these guys and see what happens. I also did forget that Imhotep didn't use his mesmerism power during the movement phase, which was a bit of a bummer. It could have changed some things. But anyway, nonetheless, on with the shooting phase. Let's try and kill this constable. Alright, let's take this cultist here. He'll have a shot against the constable. He's not shooting into combat, he's part of it, so there's no -4 modifier. It's simply a -2 because our constable has run. His pistol gives him +1, so it's -1. Target number is 9. Constable will save himself on a 5+. We've hit him, brilliant, and the constable made his pluck roll of a 10+. A 10+, a natural 10 pluck roll means that he doesn't go down. Alrighty-o, there we go. Very lucky for our constable, who's not very happy about that. What other shooting can we get around the place? Look, it's not too important at this stage. The constable is a little bit unhappy. He's going to shoot this guy back. He has moved, so it's -4. The cultist moves, so it's another -2. He has some shooting value, and his pistol has some shooting value, which gives him back 2 points. He's -4, so he's going to need a natural 10 to hit him. And if the cultist does get hit, he'll save himself on a 6+. He misses. Alrighty-o. Second cultist here will try and have a shot at the constable here. Again, he needs a 9 or more, and the constable will save himself on a 5+. Doesn't make the hit. So there's our shooting done. In the middle of this fight here, these guys have all shot. Scotland Yard. This constable here will have a shot at this chap here. Pretty sure nobody's moved. I didn't mark it with counsel, so I can't really remember what happened. But our constable will activate. He'll shoot this cultist that he's in combat with. Let's just assume that people have moved less than 3 inches. Now, our target has moved, so it's -2. He gets +2. Straight up dice. Need a 7 or more. Cultist will save himself on a 6+. Hit him. Cultist has saved himself on a 6+, but has been knocked down. That might make combat a little bit easier for our constable when it comes around to fighting. There's no other shooting available for the Servants of Ra, so now we just come to the Scotland Yard. Just having a quick look. Let's zoom back out and we'll have a think about what we can do. Here we go, Scotland Yard, 4th turn shooting. They've got a couple of shots, but there's only one that I'm concerned about at the moment, and that's our special constable here, having a shot at that guy up there. He can see him. He is behind cover, so there'd be modifiers normally, but as I've been playing without modifiers, we won't worry about it. Let's see what the dice have to say. Alright, it's going to be a tough shot. Let's check range first. 18 inches, he's in range. It's going to be a hard shot. His move, so it's -4. Our target has moved, so it's -2. That's -6 altogether. He gets +3 for his weapon and his shooting ability. So it's -3. Armor 7 plus those 3 is a 10. We need a 10. What do the dice have to say about it? We need a 10. And the cultist will save himself on a 6+. So let's see what happens. Oh, nope. 6 is missed a shot. It's no good. So there's our constable trying to shoot the cultist as he's running off. At this point, there's not too many other options for shooting. We could try and have a shot with Sherlock against Imhotep, but at this point, it's not too much that we can do now to stop this cultist getting away. It's getting quite late, so I'm going to call the game finished there. So there's our battle report. Second one for Servants of Ra versus Scotland Yard. Finished at the end of turn 4. We could have kept on playing, but like I mentioned, it's getting a little bit late and I want to edit this and get it up. We could potentially try and chase the cultist down the table, but I'm pretty sure he's going to get to his table edge before our constable will. He's closer. We'll see. So we won't worry about victory points, we won't worry about the end game conditions. I'm just going to call it Servants of Ra at this stage. It would have been nice to see the end of the report, but like I said, it's getting really late. It's going to take a while to edit this. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll be back with plenty more of these as time continues on. Really enjoying this game. I'll put up a video shortly of my, not necessarily a view, but my opinion of the game, how I feel about it. But it's certainly a good one for me at the moment. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you soon. See ya.